Look, I'm a very stable genius. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's past my cheeseburger's bedtime. Let's go.
Raving and ranting about the media and immigrants and windmills. Again, he hates windmills. He complained in front of a bunch of Teamsters about how much he hates paying overtime.
I think that would qualify as not smart, but genius. ...
For 60 days prior to an election, the Department of Injustice is supposed to do absolutely nothing that would taint or interfere with said election.
Did you hear about Trump's latest Twitter meltdown? The man who once boasted about his very good brain is now ranting about milk prices. Yeah, you heard that right, milk prices. But wait, it gets better. Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert decided to poke the bear, and boy, did the bear roar back. They teased a one-word reveal about Melania that sent Trump into a frenzy. Want to know what that word was? Keep watching. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Trump's latest Twitter tirade turned into a comedy goldmine for late-night hosts. Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, armed with their sharpest jokes, couldn't resist taking aim at the former president's wild rants. As Trump's tweets got crazier, the comedian's zingers got even funnier. Kimmel kicked things off by reading one of Trump's tweets about milk prices. Folks, the price of milk is through the roof. Thanks a lot, Sleepy Joe. Kimmel mocked in his best Trump voice. I guess Donnie Diapers is crying over spilled milk now, he quipped, sending his audience into fits of laughter. Not to be outdone, Colbert chimed in with his own jabs.
Being like really smart is not the same thing as being really smart, sir.
Close. All caps in America hit Truth Social hard last night. Trump is highly upset about the 165 pages of incriminating evidence the judge released yesterday.
If you're going under for surgery, the last thing you want to hear your doctor say is, "Don't worry, I'm mentally stable and, like, really smart."
Trump's tweeting about dairy products? I guess he's really milking this attention thing, Colbert joked, rolling his eyes. Maybe he should stick to his usual diet of hamburgers and coffee. As the night went on, Trump's tweets got more unhinged, and the comedian's responses got sharper. When Trump tweeted about his very good brain, Kimmel couldn't resist. Yeah, and I'm sure it goes great with some fava beans and a nice Chianti, he said, doing his best Hannibal Lecter impression. But it wasn't all just laughs. These comedy shows actually have a big impact on how people view politics. Studies show that young people often get their news from late-night comedy, and it shapes their opinions. So when Kimmel and Colbert roast Trump, it's not just funny, it's influential. The comedians saved their best for last, teasing a one-word revelation about Melania that had everyone on the edge of their seats. "We've got a word that sums up Melania's feelings about her husband," Colbert said with a mischievous grin, "but you'll have to wait until after the break to hear it." When they finally dropped the bomb, the word was ugh. The audience went wild. Kimmel and Colbert high-fived, basking in the thunderous applause and laughter. But as the cheers died down, a question hung in the air. How would the grumpy Trumpy respond to this comedic assault? Would he take it lying down, or would we see another Twitter explosion from the orange turd?
He continued, "I went from very successful businessman to top TV star, ...
Raving and ranting about the media and immigrants and windmills. Again, he hates windmills. He complained in front of a bunch of Teamsters about how much he hates paying overtime.
Also, I think it's worth mentioning that people who are mentally stable generally don't announce it.
And failed to rig the election. He's a rignoramus is what he is.
President of the United States,
Stay tuned, folks. This comedy show is far from over. You know that feeling when you're watching a car crash in slow motion? That's exactly what Kimmel and Colbert experienced as Trump's Twitter feed turned into a dumpster fire of epic proportions. But what if I told you this tweet NATO had an ending that even these comedy pros didn't see coming? As soon as the late night shows aired, Trump's thumbs went into overdrive. It was like someone had hooked his Twitter account up to a Red Bull feed drip. Kimmel and Colbert, always ready for a good laugh, decided to read Trump's responses live on air. Big mistake, Donnie Diapers. With each tweet, Trump dug himself deeper into a hole of ridiculousness. Colbert couldn't contain his laughter as he read one particularly unhinged post. It's probably the only thing in his life that's ever worked that hard, he quipped, referring to Trump's tweeting frenzy. The audience roared with laughter, probably picturing Trump's tiny fingers dancing across his phone screen like a deranged pianist. Not to be outdone, Kimmel chimed in with his own observation. "I think Trump's breaking some kind of tweeting record," he said, his eyes wide with mock amazement. Maybe he's going for a Guinness World Record in the most nonsensical tweets in 1 hour category.
Look, I'm a very stable genius. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's past my cheeseburger's bedtime. Let's go.
I bet it's number 2, I really do. And this is an interesting twist. Trump says it wasn't him who tried to overturn the election, even though they have him on tape doing just that. It was them.
And a very stable genius at that. Yes.
They rigged the election. The election was rigged. I didn't rig it, they did.
He's actually right about some of that. He didn't rig the election. He tried to rig the election.
But here's the kicker, folks. As Trump's tweets got crazier and crazier, providing more comedy fodder than a clown convention, something unexpected happened. Twitter, probably tired of playing whack-a-mole with Trump's posts, decided to pull the plug. That's right, the Grumpy Trumpies account got temporarily suspended for spreading misinformation. Talk about a plot twist. It turns out that Twitter had become Trump's political Achilles heel. His unfiltered rants, once a direct line to his supporters, were now just ammunition for late-night comedians. Political analysts were probably having a field day, dissecting how Trump's social media obsession was affecting his public image. Spoiler alert, it wasn't good. But don't think for a second that this temporary Twitter timeout put an end to the comedy gold. Oh no, Kimmel and Colbert were just getting started. They had a whole new angle to work with now. What would Trump do without his favorite toy? Would he resort to sending angry letters to the New York Times? Or maybe he'd start leaving voicemails for Fox News anchors at 3 a.m.
They rigged the election. I didn't rig the election. They rigged the election. What they do is they rig the election and then they go around getting people and persecuting people and prosecuting people that did nothing wrong.
I think that would qualify as not smart, but genius. ...
For 60 days prior to an election, the Department of Injustice is supposed to do absolutely nothing that would taint or interfere with said election.
So here's the deal. Comedy might be shaping politics more than we think. Kimmel and Colbert aren't just making us laugh, they're changing minds. It's like they're sneaking veggies into our political diet, and we're eating it up. But hey, don't just take their word for it. Next time you're chuckling at a Trump joke, take a second to think about what's really being said. It's not just about the orange turd's latest blunder, it's about the bigger picture. Speaking of Trump, maybe he's found his true calling. Forget politics. His future might be in comedy. Not as a comedian, of course. As the punchline. Hey, at least he'd be good at something, right? Trump making late night great again.